Hello, everybody. Welcome to GM Sports Report, your weekly podcast on all things sports where every play counts. I'm Grant, and I'm here with my co host Mason as we get ready to cover the latest news, headlines, and upcoming events going on in the sports world. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see all things GM Sports Report. Mason, how are you doing today?
Doing good, Grant. How are you?
I'm doing good. We got a few things to get into, so I'm looking forward to it. And we'll start right away with our hot take of the week. So, Mason, what is your hot take for this week?
Okay, I have a couple bias pit or things I'm going over today. I hardly ever do, but I couldn't think of anything else. So my first one, my hot take, is I don't know why Dexter Lawrence decided to publicly say that he's looking to be requesting for a trade. I get it, he wants a new contract, but at this point in the offseason, they're getting back into voluntary workouts. Sure, you can go for a new contract, but you can do all that in house. You've been the soul of our defense for the past 8 years now. You've been through some of the worst Giants football in franchise history. And now that we actually have something to look forward to, you say, okay, yeah, let's just do something to I don't want to say it sounds selfish, but it's definitely something that you can keep within house and kind of get that figured out there. I'm really just upset kind of with what the way that he publicized it. So I don't know. I think he could have just done it in a better way, but yeah, that's definitely a bit frustrating as a Giants fan who's excited for the 2026 Harbaugh season.
Yeah, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. Maybe I'm wrong, but isn't that exactly what Miles Garrett did like a season ago, though? Like a guy who's been
Yeah,
cornerstone of a defense for however many years, and he wanted his contract extension, so he came out and publicly requested a trade, and then got the contract he wanted and said all along that he never wanted to leave. I feel like it's just gonna be one of those situations. I feel like it's all for contract negotiations. I'm not gonna read into it too much until we actually start seeing rumors of teams heavily pursuing him. At least that's how I look at it.
no, yeah, I completely get that. I think and what's really going in my head is just the fact that future to future kind of expectations kind of from what Miles Garrett was getting to kind of what the Giants are looking to do this season. I think it's completely different, but yeah, I get that in the sense of a personal or player side.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like if it's actually real or not.
Hmm.
But I guess only time will tell. I would assume as the draft comes up, we'll probably
Oh
get
yeah.
answers within the next coming weeks. So we'll see what happens. Um, my hot take of the week is also a biased conversation. Uh, Losing Cade Horton has potential to completely derail the Cubs season. Losing this guy for a whole season is not ideal at all. This is now back-to-back seasons the Chicago Cubs have lost their ace at the start of a season. Last season they were able to kind of patch it up, but a big part of that was because of Cade Horton stepping up, getting called up, and having a big year. I don't know if they have that guy. Jackson Wiggins has looked great in AAA, but he's still really young and really a raw talent. So I don't know if he's going to be able to come up right away and have that impact that Cade Horton had last season. The Cubs pitching staff in general has looked kind of mid, outside of Edward Cabrera, who's been phenomenal, and obviously Cade Horton until he got hurt. Those were the only two starters that looked really solid. Matthew Boyd has looked shaky, who's also on the IL right now. Shota, we all know that he gives up a lot of home runs, so we don't know if he's going to be able to ever get back to his rookie season form. And then Tyone has looked like BP right now. So they really have a lot of questions to fill out. Colin Ray, I'm hoping steps up in a big way. Javier Assad looked solid in his first start last night, but let's face it, you're not going to be able to replace Cade Horton. I don't know how they're going to try to. I know if you look at the free agency market, it's a little thin right now, but Lucas Giolito is a guy who has always been an innings eater as a starting pitcher that's available right now. And then who knows, maybe you can open up the trade market and look and see if you can add a starter through that route. But the Cubs need to try to find a high level starter because losing Cade Horton is going to be devastating for this team. And I get Justin Steele is coming back, but with his injury, what he had, I don't expect him to be his normal self right away. I feel like it's going to take time for him to get back to his ways. So, yeah, a very concerning thing to start the year for the Cubs.
Who's pitching tonight?
Colin Ray,
Okay. I
better
don't
than
know too much
Tyone.
about him, but yeah, we'll see. I know about Tyone, I'll tell you that.
Colin Ray is like the definition of like an average starting pitcher. Like he'll go out 5, 6 innings, probably give up 2 to 3 runs, nothing flashy, not a lot of strikeouts,
Okay.
but yeah, we'll see what happens. I'd have no expectations for this game tonight.
Okay.
All right, we'll go ahead now and slide over to our underdog of the week. Mason, who is your underdog for this week?
Since you stole my underdog that I was gonna pick, I'm gonna go with
Stole is crazy.
yeah. So I'm going with Ahmed Rosario. 2 home runs last night versus the A's, including the go-ahead 3-run home run in the bottom of the 8th. So yeah, huge shout out to him. Great to see him playing well at third. McMahon's probably clenching his fists right now, having no idea what he's gonna do because he doesn't hit too well. And yeah.
Okay, for my underdog of the week, I'm going Joe Adele, who had
Yeah.
robbed 3 home runs the other game against the Seattle
Like you
Mariners.
robbed this from me.
I did not rob this
Okay,
at all. I
sorry.
sent the post first, therefore I have dibs.
I saw it first.
Um, so yeah, Joe Adele robbing 3 home runs. That third one that he had against JP Crawford was absolutely insane, where he flipped over the wall. Obviously, we've all
Mhm.
seen the iconic back shot photo that was taken, and yeah, so just a really impressive performance by Joe Adele, and Joe Adele is a guy that I'm really fond of. He was a highly touted prospect back when he first came up, and he never really panned out. But this last season, he had his first like big year with a 30+ home run season, and now he's starting out this season hot. So I really always try to cheer for Joe Adele because I know a lot of people called him a bust back in the day. So we'll see what happens with Joe Adele in the future for the rest of this season. But I really like the start that he's off to, and that's one of the best defensive performances we've seen in MLB history. So, yeah, shout out Joe Adele.
Yeah, shout out Joe Adele.
All right, sticking with the MLB, we'll now slide over and we'll give our player of the week for the MLB. So, Mason, who you got?
I'm going with Andy Pajes, NL Player of the Week. He's batting 452 right now to start of the season, 19 hits and 1215 OPS, which is amazing. So we'll see if he can keep it up. But yeah, Dodgers. I think people really wanted them to start rough, but man, they showed what money can buy. So they're 9-2 on the year right now.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's surprised by that, but I will say I am surprised at the fact that the hero of that team right now is Andy Pajes. So that's kind of crazy to see. Out of all those star players that are on your team, that's the one that's really
Oh
sticking
yeah.
out. But he's always had some good moments in a Dodgers uniform so far. So yeah, shout out to him, I guess. My player of the week, I am going with the National shortstop CJ Abrams, who in his last 7 games has been on a tear. He's batting 364 with 4 home runs, 11 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, and 6 walks. This is another one of those guys that has always been just a highly touted prospect, has always had a big potential, and the last few seasons he's looked really good, and he's off to a great start this season. Was obviously part of that Juan Soto trade that sent him to the Padres, and then they got CJ Abrams and Mackenzie Gore in return. So yeah, he's looking good. 364 batting average. That'll play. And yeah, shout out CJ Abrams for my player of the week. All right. Now we'll go ahead and do our team of the week. So, Mason, who you got for your team of the week?
So my team of the week is kind of a shocker to me, and that's the Atlanta Braves, 7-5 to start off the season, second in the division. Mauricio Dubon is batting great. I believe he's at like 350 right now, and then Drake Baldwin and Matt Olson are also batting, playing very well. So yeah, shout out to the Braves.
Yeah, I like that pick. The Braves are a team that has a lot of talent. I think that last season, a lot of people dismissed them, but they had a lot of injuries that they were dealing with. So it's no surprise that they're off to a hot start this season. For my team of the week, I'm going with the Cincinnati Reds, who are 8-3 and are on a 5-game win streak right now, first place in the NL Central. So off to a pretty hot start. And I don't think it'll last by any means, but yeah, they're off to a good start.
Big Reds fan.
Definitely not. I am happy to see someone over the Brewers, though. I will say that.
Okay, not by much.
All right. Now I want to talk about what has been the biggest surprise for you in the MLB this season so far.
I think so. I'm just gonna go off standings and which is I know it's not really what you should kind of go over, but it's gonna be talked about all season with how it's very early in the season right now, based off standings and records and everything. But AL West, it's kind of being all over the place. Mariners are starting slow. Was Julio Rodriguez and Cal Raleigh starting very bad. Josh Naylor not starting off very hot as well. Kind of like their big three right there, not doing too hot. And then Rangers, Astros, and Angels are all within half a game of each other. So it's kind of just to see who can play the best for the longest amount of time at this point. Because I feel like that division could definitely be up in the air. I do think that the Mariners will get it together. They have veteran guys who have played well at a high level for a very long time. So that I think won't be too bad. And then the AL Central could be up for grabs as well. Between the Guardians, Tigers, and Royals. Royals have really had a good start to the season as well as the Guardians. Tigers kind of are a little stagnant to begin the season. I kind of expected a little bit more personally, but again, it's too early to tell. Yeah, so that's kind of really my biggest surprises. Apart from that, nothing too crazy. But again, it's too early to kind of see. It's not like they're going to the playoffs next week. So yeah.
Yeah, my biggest surprise I put down as the Detroit Tigers. Like you were saying, it's
Hmm.
kind of too early to look into the standings too much, but they are 4-7 to start this season, and I feel like that's not what we were expecting of them. I think we were expecting them to come out
Hmm.
to a hot start and kind of take command of that division, not be in last place in that division. But so early in the season that it's like it's you got to take it with a grain of salt. So that is the
Oh
biggest
yeah.
surprise for me, but I'm not too worried about them as a team. I don't think that they're going to be some mediocre team. I think they'll be just fine. So yeah, that's my biggest surprise so far. All right, now we'll go ahead and slide over to the NBA and give our player of the week for that. So Mason, who is your NBA player of the week?
My NBA player of the week is a guy who has been stepping up and needs to step up if they want to get up into that 3 seed, and that's Kevin Durant. 26.6 points per game in the past week, 7 rebounds per game, and 7 assists per game. He's really shown that kind of veteran leadership that that team really desperately needed, given what happened last season and just not able to make it past the hump in the playoffs. He is a guy who is going to build others around him, which is his play and his performance. So I'm really excited to kind of see how he finishes the season as well as what they can do in the postseason.
Yeah, I like that pick. For my player of the week, I'm going with a rookie that's had a very good rookie campaign, but it hasn't been talked about a lot because obviously everyone talks about Cooper Flag, Con Kneppel, VJ Edgecombe,
Hmm.
those guys, and they all deserve to be talked about. They're all having fantastic seasons. But this guy has had a really good rookie season, is really having a strong finish to the season, and that is Jeremiah Fears for the Pelicans. He had a 40-point game last night, and in his last 3 games, he's averaged 29 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. So he's looked really solid for this Pelicans team that's been mid to say the least, but a bright future with Jeremiah Fears. So we'll see how they'll be able to develop him. And yeah, has really put together a solid rookie campaign. And like I said, has been incredibly hot the last few games, having a 40-point game last night. So Jeremiah Fears is my player of the week.
Nice.
All right, now we'll go into our team of the week. Who is your team of the week?
Yeah, so my team of the week is a team who is really fighting at the end of the season to stay in that 3rd seed in the Western Conference, and that is the Denver Nuggets. 9-1 in the last 10. Like I mentioned, they are kind of scratching and clawing just to stay there. Nikola Jokic has been playing absolutely amazing. Like I kind of mentioned last week, him winning Western Player of the Week. Lakers and Rockets within a game behind, so they have to play their best to kind of get the best position for the postseason. So I think they really can, but it all comes down to how they play and how the other teams they play. So yeah.
All right. For my team of the week, I'm going with the Houston Rockets, who are on an 8-game win streak.
Mhm.
They had kind of been at a struggle for a while. They were kind of playing mediocre basketball for a few weeks, but now they're turning it back on, trying to make some noise in that Western Conference again. The Lakers can easily be passed now that they've lost Luca and
Mhm.
Austin Reeves for the rest of the
Yeah.
season. And we'll see what seed they're able to get as we narrow the stretch down here. I do like your pick of the Nuggets a lot because I think we've been talking about the Spurs and the Thunder all season
Yep.
long as the two top dogs, but let's not get it mistaken. If Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray play the level of basketball that they are capable of playing, they are just as dangerous as any other team in that Western Conference. So I like that pick a lot because I think they're going to be a team that's able to make some noise. And if anyone is going to upset the Spurs or Thunder along the way, it's going to be the Nuggets. So yeah, shout out to the Nuggets and the Rockets. The Rockets are my team of the week.
Yeah. So speaking of Spurs, I saw Wemby one out the other night. Do we know what his timeline is?
I don't think it's anything too serious as of now. I do know he's like day to day. I don't know the exact injury, but
Okay.
I don't think it's anything too concerning yet. As long as
Because if
as long
it's
as the reporter doesn't change on it.
Yeah, because if it's drastic, I don't know. I mean, Spurs are a great team, and they really held it together with Wemby being out earlier in the season, I believe it was. But playoff basketball is just completely different, and this would, I believe, be his first playoff appearance. So I'd really like to see him excel in that environment.
Yeah, if it really is bad, I do think the Spurs can get by that first series where they'll be playing a play-in
Right.
team.
Yeah.
But they'll definitely need him after that because he is the anchor of that team. Same with Cade Cunningham and the Pistons. If the Pistons,
Yep.
don't have him for that first round, I think that they'll survive and make it through, probably the Heat or something like that that they'll be playing against. I think they'll be able to handle them and get Cade Cunningham back after that. But they definitely need both those guys. Both teams need those guys. They're the anchors of those teams. So yeah, we'll see what happens with those injuries.
Yep.
All right. And then finally, we'll slide over to college basketball because the national championship has been played and Michigan has won it 69-63 over the Yukon Huskies. Mason, what are your thoughts on this championship?
Yeah, so I thought it was a great game. Like you mentioned, it was a close game, especially towards the stretch or the final stretch. Michigan shot 38% from the field, but 13% from the three. And UConn shot a little bit better from the three at 27%. Uh, but what I found out was what was interesting was that UConn had I wouldn't say way more, but was way better on the glass than Michigan was, but they just couldn't get their field goals to go down or their free throws. I think they had like 75% from the free throw. So yeah, it's just making shots when you need them, when you get those gimme shots. Because I didn't exactly see how many free throws they missed, but that brings you closer to that. What was it, 6 point deficit to close out the game. So that's what you got to think of at the end of that.
Yeah, I thought it was an entertaining game, low scoring, obviously, but that happens a lot in these college basketball games because both teams are so
Hmm.
focused on the defensive end. I obviously picked UConn to win just because of their experience, and they always seem to make deep runs. So I didn't watch Michigan too much. I do know they had a dominant run to get there, and they obviously deserve to win the championship. They had a great game. I'm not going to sit around and act like I know who these players are, but a lot of them just played solid basketball to be able to win a championship, and that's what matters at the end of the day. It wasn't like one player dropped 35 points and carried them on
Hmm.
their back. It looked like a lot of solid performances from a lot of guys. So I can always respect that. And yeah, um, shout out to Michigan. They were the best team in college basketball this year.
Yep.
All right. That's pretty much going to wrap up this episode. So thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of GM Sports Report, where every play counts. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to be able to see our weekly episodes on all things sports. For additional content, check the description links to our Instagram and TikTok account. This is Grant and Mason. Sign off for now. Have a great week, everybody.